Welcome here to the next video for Howard Piano Industries. Today we're going to be sharing with you some ways to advertise to get business as a piano technician. You may be starting out your business, just getting the ground off, and you've gotten some skills under your belt, but now you're at the point where you need to start being able to advertise and get some clients so you can start getting some work for your new piano service business. So we're going to go through some of the ways that you can go about starting to get a list of clients and customers for doing piano work. So we're going to start talking because just because you have the skills, and which obviously the most important first step is being able to get the skills that you need to be able to do the work, such as tuning pianos and doing the repairs and regulating and so forth that you need to do. And in another video, we're actually going to be sharing some other ways that you can do work and gain income as a piano technician. But today we're going to be talking about advertising and gaining clients. Now, obviously, the best way to gain clients is through word of mouth. But obviously, if you're brand new and not very many people know that you're a piano tuner or piano technician, that there's not much word of mouth going around because not very many people know about you or about your services yet. So there's some things you want to do to build your business, and eventually, as the years go on, hopefully you'll get to that point, as most piano tuners do, get to the point where most of their new business is through word of mouth. They heard from a friend of somebody that uses you as their piano tuner, that they call you to let you know that they want their piano tuned as well. So the first thing you want to think about are where are pianos? Okay, we know that many homes have pianos. I think the average percentage is somewhere between 10 and 20% of homes have pianos, and I think that varies depending on what kind of an area it is. If it's an area that has a lot of arts emphasis in the schools and the community, then you're going to have a higher percentage. But generally, between 10 and 20% of homes in your area probably have a piano in them. Churches, almost all churches have at least one piano, or large churches may have multiple pianos. Schools obviously have at least one or more pianos. At least most schools do. You want to think about nursing homes. Generally have a piano or two in them. Concert venues, any place they'd have a concert halls and so forth, though those are generally have much the most advanced technicians working on them, large concert halls. So you can have restaurants, that kind of thing. So you want to think about where the pianos are, because obviously those are going to be your customers and your clients. Now, what you can do is you can try and get to know some of the people that have pianos. I know, if you have friends that have pianos, you can let them know, hey, I'm doing this kind of work now. If you're interested, let me know, and I can tune your piano. If you go to church somewhere, you can spread the word of mouth that way. We go to a fairly large church, and we've got a lot of customers that I tune for that go to our church. That is just through word of mouth. They heard that I was a piano technician, and I tuned for them and have for a number of years. Now, what you can do is you can make contact through mailings, and this is something I did to some degree when I was first starting out. One fairly successul mailing campaign that I did was to all the churches in the area. We're in Wisconsin, and I had determined my service area was going to be from like Green Bay down to Oshkosh, because that's kind of the area that I live in, and was within generally about a 30 to 40 minute drive from my house. So I kind of figured out a service area or service radius that I wanted to go to, and I made a list, printed off the internet, or you can go off the phone book, of all the churches, every single church in my service area, and there was about 500 churches. It sounds like a lot, but there's a lot of churches around. So I just made a church and made a database on the computer of all the churches, the names and addresses, and was able to print envelopes, and you can handwrite the envelopes if you want addresses, but if you're able to do that on the computer, it's much faster. But I just made a form letter and said, I'm a piano technician, service in this area, and just introducing yourself and telling people what you do, and some of the training that you've had, some things that give you some credentials and credibility. So send those letters out. I think out of the 500 letters I sent, I kept track for a while, and I think I ended up in the first 6 months, probably 6 months to a year, I think I ended up with about 35 or 40 churches that actually called to schedule me, and I still tune for many of those churches today, to date. So it certainly is worth it, and churches are nice, as just our schools are, because, like I said, many times they have more than one piano. So they usually get it done maybe more often than a home. They maybe get it done every 6 months. I've got some churches that they do it 3 or 4 times a year, just because the climate in churches and schools isn't as good for pianos, and so they go out of tune faster. And of course, they are probably a little more discerning, at least to some degree, than the average home owner for the piano in the home. So it goes out of tune faster, and they want it to be in tune more than your average home. So they'll probably have it tuned more often. So those are good customers to have. So that was a successful mailing campaign that I had. I did a similar thing with the schools. Send out letters. If you can get to know some of the music teachers in some of the area schools, that's always a good thing to do, because then you can then you can make a personal contact, and it's probably more likely that you're able to gain a contract with a school. Some schools do go by contract, where maybe a whole district uses the same piano tuner for the whole district, and so we're trying to find out who's in charge of those contracts, and maybe making a contact there, and maybe they use somebody else now, but just making a contact means maybe when that person retires or moves away, that they may consider you in the future. So just be able to get your name out, get to know people that have pianos or are in charge of getting pianos tuned is a good thing. Another good resource is finding out who the piano teachers are in your service area. Excuse me. Because piano teachers, obviously, the majority of people that have pianos in their homes usually have somebody in the home that takes piano lessons, and that's obviously through the piano teachers in the area. So if you can get to know some of the piano teachers in the area, I think I sent out mailings to the piano teachers in the area as well, and not only did I get some of those piano teachers as customers, but you also may get them to start handing your cards out to their students, which is actually a huge resource for you as a piano technician. So really try to take advantage of that particular avenue. Another thing that I did was I offered a referral discount. I don't any longer, because I'm kind of at the point where I've got as much tuning work as I can handle with my schedule. But when you're starting out, offering a referral discount, at least for me, was very profitable. What I did, and you can vary this however you like, but what I actually did was I offered the referral discount of 20% off of a tuning for every referral that I received. So, for example, a piano teacher, if they tell your student, that, call Steve Howard for your piano tuning, and they call. Usually, when a new customer calls, I'll say, how did you find out about me? And they say, well, my piano teacher told me about it. So I'll keep track of how many referrals I get from each for each customer. And when it comes time to tune their piano, say for example they gave me 5 referrals, they'd get a free piano tune. Okay, and say, well, you're going to tune a piano for free. Well, if I get 5 brand new customers through it, I certainly don't mind tuning somebody's piano for free, because those new customers, at least in many cases, are going to be not only tuned once, but they're going to tune year after year. So the referral discount is a good way, and the referral discount also worked well for churches. I've got, in fact, one church in particular that I can think of took full advantage of that. Every time it was time for them to have their piano tuned, they put an announcement in the bulletin saying, "Hey, it's time to get our piano tuned. If we can get 5 people to get their piano tuned by Steve Howard, then we can get our piano tuned for free." And every 6 months, they got their piano tuned for free, and I got 5 new customers. So it worked out good for the church as well as for me, and certainly was a good way for helping me to build my business. So that was very profitable. Another thing you can do is offer what are called piano care classes. Okay, and these are informational classes that you give for free. What I did, and this can take a number of different variations, but what I did was I contacted the Music Teachers Association, one of the local groups of piano teachers in the area that meets. They have a meeting several times a year, and I said, hey, for one of your meetings, would you like me to come in and talk to the piano teachers about piano care? And I set up like a 45-minute presentation, and well, I'll maybe offer a video on what that piano care class will consist of, but basically tells you about how often piano needs tuned, what makes a piano go out of tune, cleaning a piano, cleaning the keys, and that kind of stuff. But so if you offer that to the teachers, you can say, hey teachers, I'd be glad to offer this class for free for your students. Okay, because teachers know that if their students' pianos function better and work better, they're more likely to practice and get more out of there. So teachers like that. So say, hey, teacher, if you'd like to set up for your students, I'd be glad to give a presentation for your students. And oftentimes, if you give a class, the people that come to the class, it's possible they already have a piano tuner, but they might not, or they may not be happy with their piano tuner, or haven't had their piano tuned for 10 years. There's a lot of that, unfortunately, but you see a lot of that. So that's an excellent way of gaining new customers, is through offering those piano care classes. Another thing that I've gotten a lot of new business from is having vehicle signage. Okay, signs on my vehicles that I drive around for business, and we've got 2 vehicles, one that I drive and one that my wife drives, and we got the sign put on both of them. Okay, and has I've got a logo that I put on there, and then of course it has piano service and tuning, and it has my web address and then my phone number. So I think I went to Fast Signs, but there's a number of different places around that will do the letter signage for you. And I think it cost me $150 for the 2 side windows and the back. Okay, and you want it to look nice because you want to look professional, because it's more likely that people call you if it looks professional. But I can't tell you how many times I've either been driving down the road and somebody will call me and say, hey, I'm following you and I need my piano tuned. Okay, of course you can't do anything while you're driving, but you can at least, hopefully if you've got caller ID, you can say, hey, I'll call you back. Or you can say, give me a call in an hour or tonight or something like that. Or I've been in the parking lot of Sam's Club or Walmart or somewhere, at a shopping center, and I'm getting out of my car or going back to my car, and somebody is getting in the car next to me, and they say, hey, I see you tune pianos. I need my piano tuned. And so I've always got business cards with me, so I'll give them a business card. Or Better yet, because people don't always follow up on that, is I'll say, hey, can I get your phone number? I'll give you a call. So being proactive that way is always a good way. So I've, the $150 I spent on each vehicle, I've way gotten more business than what I've spent on that. So it was definitely a good investment. And obviously new customers, if you educate them and do good service, you're probably going to get ongoing service. So that's the nice thing about customers, is once you've got them as a customer, in most cases you're gonna be servicing them regularly, whether it's once a year or even once every other year if they're not real regular about it. But it builds. Okay, so those are some good ways to gain new customers. The other thing another resource that you can do is contact some of the local music stores or stores that sell pianos. They don't have to sell pianos because even music stores that just sell keyboards, which obviously don't need tuned, will have people come in and say, hey, do you know a piano technician? And sometimes they'll be willing to give out your card. We've got a music store nearby that has given me many referrals as a piano tuner. So trying to make a contact and make sure when you go in there, and they may need somebody to tune the pianos in their store. I know usually they've got somebody, but could be that they say, well, we'll try you out and have you do some of it. And so sometimes piano stores, they like to have more than one because they hope that you bring them business as well. And in reality, you probably will. If you think they're a good piano store, you might say, hey, go to the such and such music store to buy a piano if you need a piano. So it kind of works both ways. So they oftentimes will try to have more than one piano technician working for them, to try to keep the referral system going there. So that's always a good way. And then I mentioned business cards. Make sure you always have business cards. Make sure they're professional looking. Have all the pertinent information on it, as far as how to contact you, phone number, email address. That brings up another thing. A good thing to have is to have a website. Okay, you might think, well, what's a website going to do for me? Well, nowadays, everybody looks on the website. You're a local business. Most local businesses nowadays have a website. So you want to have a website. You might have what your price is for tuning, what services you offer, what geographical area you service, and so forth, and maybe some things about you, like how long you've been tuning and what kind of training you got and so forth. So those things are important, and it helps too. I mean, I've gotten customers that have called me that just did a search for piano tuners in Appleton, Wisconsin, and they came up with my name, my website, and found me that way. So that's another. So you want to get as many ways to advertise and get your name out there as possible, because just hoping that the phone rings and somebody calls out of the blue, it doesn't usually cut it very much. So you want to be proactive, do as much as you can. One other thing that you could do is if you service a certain area, there might be areas outside of that service area that are small, and you might find out, you'll have to do a little research to find this out, but you might find out, there's not really any piano tuner service in this area. So maybe there's a town, 50 or 60 miles away that it's a small town, but they've still got a school and some homes and a church and a couple churches, but no piano technician goes out there regularly. So you might make some contacts in that area, and or try to get to know some people, or contact some churches or the schools, music teachers in the schools to find out, hey, would there be a need for this, and then schedule a whole day. Okay, so maybe 4 or 5 pianos in that particular area. makes it worth it for you to drive out there. And you could charge a little bit more to go to that area. I don't generally, if I can get a whole day in one area, but that's up to you to decide if if you want to charge a little for that extra travel time. So those are some things to consider. When you're advertising and trying to build your business as a new piano technician, or maybe you're a piano technician that's been doing it for years and just needs more business. So hopefully some of these tips will be helpful for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to visit our website. It's howardpianoindustries.com.